if you're not doing that already, you're holding yourself back, right? If we're fighting with our fists, I'm a lefty. I prefer to punch you with my left, but I will still punch you with my right. Maybe not as well, but I can still do it. And we don't want to take and say, I'm only a lefty, I'm only a lefty, I'm only a lefty. I can't run that weapon system on the opposite side of the body. It's foolish, all right, for a number of reasons. One, barricade tactics. If I'm working a barricade, if I'm working a piece of cover, like this, for example, if I've got that weapon in my left shoulder, I can very easily take and work out and give up only an eyeball and a muzzle. But if I've got that weapon in the right shoulder, now I take and I come out and I'm here. See, I'm exposing upwards of 90% of my body. So that's a major problem. Second is the issue of incurring an injury. If we incur an injury happens to the dominant side of the body and somehow inhibits us from shooting, we need to be able to throw that gun to the other shoulder. But the big one, the third one, which really affects you guys in a big way, is shooting on the move. As we shoot on the move, the majority of shoot on the move training you guys probably do is moving forward. It's moving towards that threat, right? We set up at the 10, and we say move from the 10 to the 5, and we're here, and we're driving on that threat as we go. But what about working the flanks, all right? And let's just talk tactics for a second here, okay? So hold up your finger gun there. He points his finger gun. Everybody look at his finger gun right there. When he points his finger gun at me, if I move towards him, his finger doesn't move. When we move towards a threat, we're not moving. We're just growing. All right? In fact, I'm making it easier for you to hit me. I'm becoming a larger threat as I get closer and closer. Whereas if he holds his finger gun up again, point his finger gun at me, and I take and I move laterally, you can see that in this case he has to track. He has to follow me. The advantage in tactics of moving laterally to threats as opposed to driving on threats is massive. It's huge. And if you haven't experimented with that in force on force, I recommend you guys do. So if we start moving laterally with the carbine, and I've got it, we'll say for the example, in this case here, I've got the chamber plugged, but I've got the carbine in my left shoulder, and I'm moving from right to left. It's very easy for me to keep my toes, knees, hips, and shoulders aligned in the direction of travel, right? And I can take and I can very smoothly take and execute lateral movement. If I have that carbine in the same shoulder, it remains in the left shoulder, when I start to move laterally, what starts to happen is there's a tremendous amount of torque on my hips, and I start to cross my feet, and eventually I'll wind up walking backwards. And the likelihood of me tripping, falling, getting knocked down, or simply just losing my balance becomes very, very exaggerated. Everybody understand that? So the ability to move that gun from shoulder to shoulder so that when I start to move and I feel that torque, that weapon moves to the opposite shoulder becomes natural. And I can work it either way. Then when I'm set up here on this barricade, and I need to work the left-hand side, then I've got the weapon in the correct orientation, and when I need to work the right-hand side, it's in the correct orientation. Now there is a process, there's a procedure to get the gun to the opposite shoulder correctly. We don't want to take and just throw it over there. So there's a method to this. The way it's done is like so. If we have the vertical foregrip, the first step is already taken care of for us. If we don't, if our hand is on the mag well, we need to open up the mag well. We need to open this up, so we need to move that hand forward. Now the mag well is open. So step number one, I will take and move my dominant hand onto the mag well, and then guide the weapon around my head. Thumbs and thumbs. Thumb lands on the selector, thumb stays clear of the ejection port. From here I want to go back. What do I need to do first? Open up the mag well. So I'm here, I need to open up the mag well, hit the mag well, guide around to the opposite shoulder. Now thankfully, nobody here is one of those hardcore Weaver style shooters who shoots like this. Because if you were, once the gun gets here, you can see I'm all twisted and I'd have to switch my feet. So if this is done correctly, if your posture is correct, you don't need to switch anything. So I can stand in a posture here, squared up to that threat, and I can be here, up on target, and that gun goes that quickly to the opposite shoulder. And here, that gun goes to the opposite shoulder. Everybody see that? The type of sling you have, how loose it is, how tight it is, can hold you back a little bit. It can come across and catch you. So play around with your sling. This is one of the reasons sometimes we like to run without a sling at all. Everybody understand? But I want you guys to think about a long central hallway, right? You're over at the school, the local school. And I want you to look at these two different examples. So first example, long central hallway, door right, door left, door right, door left, door right, door left. Watch my footwork. So I'm here. Door right, door left, door right, door left. And now I'm here. Just like so. See the ease in footwork? I'm just walking, right? We spend our whole lives walking. Why make it any harder than it has to be? Everybody understand that? Outstanding. Is there anybody who has really, really hard eye dominance issues? Nobody who has problems with that? Is there anybody who has problems shooting with both eyes open? Anything along those lines? Good meeting. Fantastic. All right, we're good. So let's grab your eyes, grab